Today, I want to talk about the transfer portal, but to be specific, the settings, the best settings for the transfer portal, and provide y'all information how to have a better experience during this time. In my opinion, the offseason, especially the transfer portal, is one of the most entertaining parts of Dynasty, but it could be overdone sometimes. So we're going to talk about some settings, some methods just to make this mode or this feature more enjoyable. If you do enjoy this content, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, man. Check out the Twitch, all of that stuff down below, and let's hop into the video. So first, I want to show you guys this brand new Dynasty that I made today with the updated rosters. It's 2025. All I did was just sim to the offseason, pick the random team, Tennessee, and we have default settings across the board. I didn't even open the settings menu until now. So we have default transfer portal that start off with 20 max players, 50-50 or 55-55 for the user and CPU. We'll talk about my suggestion for these settings, especially year one. Year one is the most crazy part of the transfer portal, man. After that, it goes straight downhill when it comes to the number of players entering the portal. And that's not really a bad thing for your dynasty because there's so many players that end up disappearing. We'll talk about all of that stuff. But first, I just want to show you what the portal looks like. So keep in mind, updated rosters, player overalls are increasing, and some players decreasing. But you are on average, if you start a new dynasty, you're going to have more 5-stars in the portal this first year than 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, because some of these guys overalls just increased. Like Brown here, he was a 4-star, but now his overall went up. He's considered a 5-star. If y'all don't know, all of the star rankings, especially in the portal, is all just dependent on overall. So his overall has went up. I think the threshold is maybe 90, 91, somewhere in that range to be a 5-star. I think it's really 90. But that's the threshold to be a 5-star. You have Jordan Seaton. He's going to enter the portal every single year because in simulation, Colorado is not going to play up to their potential, especially since their team overall has went down because they're not playing good. He's going to be in the portal every year. And you'll have some of these guys, he's going to be in the portal every single year because championship contender. And you'll have guys like Colin Simmons who enters the portal every single year. And I believe it's because playing style. For some reason, they just can't get the playing style right. So you have guys that's going to enter the portal every single year here this first season because I believe EA didn't do a great job of assigning guys the right, deal breaker. For example, Jordan Seaton, his deal breaker being championship contender, that makes no sense. This was a 5-star player coming out of high school. He knew he was going to Colorado. And he knew they wasn't going to be a good team, or I shouldn't say a good team. He wasn't expecting to win a championship. If he wanted to win a championship, he would have went to Alabama or Georgia where he had offers from both of those schools. But he wanted to be developed. He wanted to, go for a coach. I guess his real deal breaker will be playing time. His real deal breaker probably will be playing time because he started day one and, he went to Colorado. No disrespect to Colorado, but he went to a team where he could start day one. So he would be a playing time deal breaker, but they gave him a championship contender deal breaker, which makes zero sense. So that'll lead to this guy enter the portal. But it's a lot of guys in Dynasty that just start off with the wrong deal breaker when you consider their actual career choice. That deal breaker just do not make sense, man. Like you just have guys, they'll transfer down to, a group of 5 level, but the CPU will give them a championship contender deal breaker. It's like they just left the power 4 to go down and you're giving them championship contender deal breaker. Marcel Reed got a playing style deal breaker. I had a dynasty where he won the Heisman and he stole into the portal. So point is, this first year, the deal breakers for the guys, the NIL guys, is not super accurate. So you're going to have an influx of guys entering the portal. So 5 stars here in the transfer portal is the most I've ever seen. I seen 6 one time, but it was recently as well. So 5 to 6 is the most you'll ever see. Usually, especially once you start simming in the future, y'all know, you will have oftentimes 0 5-stars in the portal. Just because you'll see a lot of backups start entering the portal rather than starting caliber players. This first year, you will see a lot of starting caliber players entering to the portal, man. So we have 5 5 stars, and then you look at 4 stars. I just want to search by, national rank, but let's just do the other version of the search where we can see that it's around 230 4-stars in the portal. That is a lot. 230 4-star transfers is a lot. With a normal dynasty, when you're past year 1, that number will go down to the hundreds. You might have 130. You might get lucky with 160. But you're usually looking at like 130 to 150, somewhere in that range. So to have 230 is extremely high for this first year of the transfer portal. So my suggestion would be to decrease these transfer portal settings year 1 because there's too many players entering, and you're going to have a lot of players that don't find a home. One of the biggest issues, in this game when it comes to players disappearing is because there's too many players and not enough roster spots. And you could say that's an issue in real life, but in real life, you got Division II, you got JUCO, you got, FBS. We don't have that in the game. We just don't have that in the game. You have more college football options. So these guys just end up disappearing. In real life, they might go play FCS. FBS is the higher division. FCS is the lower one. They might go play FCS football, and, that's just not in this game. So therefore, it looks like these players are disappearing, but in reality, they're probably going to these, lower programs. So point is, the issue is too many players in the game. From high school, too many players. It's way too many players. That's why you have so many 3 stars, 4 stars disappearing, because there's too many players. There's only 85 roster spots in game. Real life is, you'll have some teams with over 100 players on the roster. So in game, too many or not enough roster spots and too many players. And then when you add in a huge transfer portal class, like you'll get every single year with default settings, you're liable to issues like this where, I'm saying it's an issue because a lot of these guys are just not going to find a home this first year. You have over 200 4-stars. And when you're going to the portal, it looks great. It looks tremendous, especially if you're a good program like Tennessee. Look at the amount of 4-star transfers we have interested in us. And we're number 1 on their list, but we can't bring all these guys in. We just can't. We could sign a whole class of transfers if we so wanted to. And these are good players too, man. Like some of these players are great. That's in the portal right now. I would suggest decreasing the portal, and I'll show y'all the settings. I would suggest for year 1 and really every single year in the portal. I even want to, before we get to that, I want to show you the 3 stars also. 3 stars, you start out from 239, and that's where, the 4-star end and the 3-star start. And then if we sort by, the lowest, it gets to 838, but that's because it only shows a certain amount of players on this screen. If we come over here to quarterback, you can see it goes all the way to the 1700s for quarterbacks, man. You have over 1,500. You have over 1,500 3-stars in the portal. 1,500 3-stars is insane. That's insane, man. That's so many players. In real life, you get that also. But in real life, these guys could go down to FCS. They could go to Division II if they want to. In this game, they just disappear. So you don't want these many players entering the portal if they're going to disappear, because you're going to lead to your league being worse, because some of these guys will have elite development. Some of these guys will have star development. Like, this is a freshman from Ole Miss. He could have star development. He could have elite. He could have been a guy, but he's going to disappear because he transfers. So you want to decrease the portal during this first season, in my opinion, because you're going to have way too many players entering. So I simmed over to National Signing Day, and we could see what happened. If any 5-star transfers don't sign anywhere, and perfect example, 5-star transfer, nobody ever even offered Buddy a scholarship. Frustrating, but you could prevent this if you just decrease the portal every year, every year. And it sucks because you want the portal to be fun, engaging, all of that stuff. I want the portal to be enjoyable. I think it's one of the best parts of the all season, but I think you're better off nerfing the portal yourself. And we come over here, you're going to have, these are the 4-star transfers, and you're going to see how many good 4-star transfers just disappear. We could just scroll down for a little bit, and we'll just, we'll keep going There we go. So about 20, Corey Parrish, the number 8 player in the portal. He's around 90 overall. He's with progression, he'll go to a 90. He's probably like an 88, 89 overall. Completely disappear, like frustrating. But point is, you need to decrease the portal, because like I said, some of these guys just start off with the wrong deal breaker. Some of these NIL guys, and they're going to enter the portal every single year, and in reality, sometimes they shouldn't. Avery Johnson, pro potential. He's going to transfer out of Kansas State every single time, because Kansas State, they don't have any pro potential for quarterback. It's very low. So he enters the portal every year because it's super low. They probably have a none. They probably have no chance to convince him to come back. That's another issue. I don't know why every time is extremely low, very low, none, no chance to convince these guys to come back. And he's going to enter every single year, but that shouldn't be the case. He shouldn't care about pro potential, in my opinion, because you're going to be the pro potential. You're the star quarterback that could go get drafted for this program. And also, if you cared about pro potential, you probably wouldn't have went to Kansas State, in my opinion. So some of the deal breakers for the NIL guys just don't make sense, and it leads to a lot of guys entering the portal, like Malachi Nelson. He entered the portal. He cares about championship contender. That's why he left UTEP. This is a guy that transferred 3 times. I promise you, he don't care about. I don't want to say he don't care about pro potential, but I don't think that's his deal breaker. His deal breaker is probably playing time. That's why he went to UTEP, for playing time, because he didn't start at Boise State. So he went to UTEP to start. I don't think he's going to Oregon now to be the backup behind Dante Moore. Like, that don't make any sense, EA. And it's going to lead to a lot of guys going to the same team, and your rosters is going to look crazy. And I'm sure if we go through, you're going to have a bunch of quarterbacks all on the same roster. Arch Manning ends up going back to Texas. Marcel Reed go to LSU. All of this stuff is normal, but then you have another starting caliber quarterback going to Texas. Then you have a third starting caliber quarterback going to Texas. It's like, yo, how many players just went to Texas here, man? And then you got situations like this where you got Avery Johnson and DJ Lagway both on one team, and now DJ Lagway's career might be ruined because he going to be stuck behind Avery Johnson, assuming, they're both going to get off-season progression. Avery Johnson, the higher overall. He probably also got start development. He's probably going to end off-season training as the higher overall quarterback. DJ Lagway is now in the backup, and his career is pretty much ruined into his senior year. Senior year, he'll get a chance to start, but that shouldn't be the case. Like, DJ Lagway should have transferred for all that. They wouldn't have brought in Avery Johnson, in my opinion, but hey, it is what it is. Decrease the portal. So the portal settings I would suggest is to put the max transfers somewhere around 12 to 15, and then also decrease the user, player, and then also the CPU to somewhere around 35, 40, somewhere in that range. This time we'll go with 35 for both, and we'll keep it at 12. And then we're going to advance in the same dynasty. We're going to advance to the following transfer portal, and you'll see the difference. The numbers will be down by default because that first year, like I said, so many players were into that first year because players' deal breakers are wrong, in my opinion. So you got guys entering for the wrong reasons that first year. And then after that, after the dust, settles, the following years, the transfer portal is much calmer. But in my opinion, even during those years where the transfer portal is much calmer, you still want to make it even more calm. Like, you still want to decrease it because there's still too many guys entering. All right, so we sim to the following year transfer portal with the settings we just showed you we put on. So let's come over here to the portal to see how it's looking this time. I imagine we won't have any 5 stars. You usually won't have many 5 stars that following year. Marcel Reed is back in the portal. Why? Playing style deal breaker. He's going to enter that portal every year, which is, is what it is, but it's just not right. It's not right. Dante Moore in the portal. But what I'm interested in is how many 83. That is a low number. 83 4 stars. That is a low number, but that's because we decreased the portal, and in my opinion, that's what you should look to do. Now, the portal could be very, very fun. if you just keep it on the default settings. I'll also show you what happens if you increase the portal, and I'll show you what happens in a dynasty. But decrease the portal, for one, it's going to make your dynasties more challenging when it comes to just flipping a bad roster, because you can flip a bad roster in one transfer portal easy. Now, when you decrease this portal, it's not that same option. It's just not. It's not that same option to flip the portal just all in one season. And we can look at on the 3 stars. It's only 603 stars. It's pretty much 599 to be exact. 3 stars. So a lot less. Last time we had 1,500 3 stars. This go around we have 500 3 stars. But this is going to lead to less players disappearing, less transfers disappearing. You'll have more high school guys disappearing, that, in my opinion, shouldn't even make college football, but you'll have more transfers staying around, which in my opinion, I think is important. So now I want to hop into my tester dynasty with Alabama. We're in the year 2034. This is a test-only dynasty. We have default transfer portal settings on. That's what we have. Default transfer portal settings is years into the future. So, we don't have to worry about any NIL guys or anything entering the portal because of, deal breakers that don't make sense. With these NIL or with these, auto-generated guys, we don't know if deal breakers don't make sense. We just don't know that because, we don't know these guys in real life or their background or anything like that. But let's sim over to the transfer portal, and this is with default settings, and we'll kind of, get some numbers of how many players are entering. I want to show you the difference of when you increase the portal, and you'll see that it's really not that big of a difference when it comes to high-level players entering the portal when you increase it. You'll have a lot of bad players entering the portal when you increase it, but you'll kind of see. So come over here to the transfer portal. We have 1 5-star in the portal, which is good because a lot of times you'll have no 5 stars entering the portal, but he's from Southern Miss, and he wants to stay close to home. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. All right. Interesting deal breaker. Now come over here to the 4 stars. Let's see how many 4 stars enter the portal. It's going to be 162 this go around. 162 4 stars. Or we take away that 1 5-star, 161 because it's counting that 1 5-star. So 161 4 stars enter the portal this go around. That's with default settings. Come over here to 3 stars, and you're going to have around, let's call it 600, 5 to 600 4 stars or 3 stars in the portal. Honestly, solid. We'll take that. And then when you come over here to 3 stars, you're going to have over, not 1,000, but it's around 800. It's going to be around 800 3 stars in the portal. So from this screen, it don't show you all the 3 stars. You come over here to quarterback, and then you start seeing some players in the thousands that's still a 3-star. And once again, I'm going to explain it, man. The star ranking is only overall. So every single player in the portal could be a 3-star if they came in the overall range. I think that overall range, I don't know the exact, but for example, like an 80 overall player, that's going to be a 3-star player. If every single player entered the portal and there was 1,000 of them, all those players would be a 3-star, if that makes sense. If every single player entered the portal was a 90 overall, they will all be 5 stars, and you'll have, 1,000 5 stars in the portal if every single player was a 90 overall, if that makes sense. So that's with the star ranking. We're not going to cover 2 stars because you don't ever have to bring in a 2-star player in the portal. All these players disappearing, if all the 2 stars and 1 stars disappear, makes sense. It's only 3. It's not that many 1 stars entering, but if all the 1 stars disappear, that makes sense because those players, probably shouldn't even be in, college football or on a roster. They're just not good enough. They should go FCS. Now let's go back on this same exact save file, but all we're going to do is change the settings and we're going to max them out, and we're going to sim to that same exact portal with the same exact players, but the settings are going to be maxed out this time. So settings are maxed out 30, 100, 100. So you would think you'll have a significant more amount of players. You just should have more players in the portal, and you will. But for me, I would think you'll have more everything. You'll have more 5 stars, more 4 stars, more 3 stars, more 2, 1. And that's not what you're really getting here. So I don't, you'll kind of see here, in my opinion, I don't think you should ever really increase the portal. I just don't. I think you should only decrease. And we come over here to 5 stars. Do we have any more 5 stars? And we do. We have one more 5 star. Okay, that's good. Come over here to 4 stars. Do we have any more 4 stars? And we went from 161 to 166. I know it say 168, but we got 2 5 stars that we're counting for, so that's why we -2. So 166 4 stars. That's not significant. That is not a significant more amount of good players, high level players. And in my opinion, you should get more of everything, but that's not what you're getting when you increase the portal. At least when you're in the future, that's not what you're getting. Instead of what you're getting is you're getting more backups entering. You're getting more players that's not that good entering essentially. So we come over here to 3 stars. And if we come over here to the quarterbacks, and you can see now it's into the 1,100s. So now we're entering, we're having 900 to 1,000 players entering, 3 stars entering the portal compared to around 800. So you have a lot more. I don't want to call them bad because 3 stars are not bad, but you're having a lot more players that's lower in overall entering rather than a lot more starters entering, if that makes sense. So in my opinion, decrease the portal, find a balance that works for you, because I just think the portal can make a dynasty too easy. Now, if you're a good team and you want to rock out with the portal, do whatever works for you. But I think for my dynasties going forward, I'm just going to decrease the portal and you'll see just less guys disappearing. And that's what I want for my dynasty. But if y'all enjoy this content, man, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate y'all boys for watching, and we're on to the next one.